In the diagram, PQ is equal to QR, RS, SP, and SQ, and they're all equal to 6. And PT and RT is 14. The length of ST is. Let's start by labeling as much as we can, but before we start labeling, I'm going to draw a line that connects P to R, and that's going to help me. And then I'm going to connect S all the way to T, since that is what they want us to figure out. And then I think I'll just label this intersection point M right here, this point right here in the middle. Okay, I think that should be sufficient. So first and foremost, I can notice that this is going to be a right angle. So I've got a Pythagorean relationship that MT squared plus PM squared is equal to PT squared. Now PT, they told me, is 14. PM, I don't know yet, but I can pretty much figure that out. And then MT, that will be, of course, what will help me figure out ST, because in the end, once I get the value of MT, they want me to figure out ST, right? So ST will just be MT minus MS. That's it. So we just have to figure out a few of these variables. And we're going to concentrate on this triangle right there, this one, the one connecting P, S, and M. Now you'll notice that this is all equilateral triangles, right? They tell you that in the question. So when I chopped it in half like that, I've created a scenario that is very common in math contests. I've created a 30, 60, 90 triangle, right? 30, right angle, and 60. So the ratios of the sides are 1, 2, and root 3. So, do we know any of these sides? And the answer is yes. We know that PS is 6. So we have an actual numerical value for PS, or SP, whichever way you want to call it. And then MS, well, MS is just half of QS. And QS, or SQ, is also 6. So MS is just going to be 3 in terms of its actual value. So I think that's all we need. And then PM, in a very similar way, you can figure out PM over MS, which is 3, is equivalent to root 3 over 1, right? So cross multiplying, you get PM is equal to 3 root 3. So now we have everything we need to solve. PM, I put in here 3 root 3, and then MT, I'll just leave it empty for now. So that means MT squared is equal to 14 squared, which is 196. 3 root 3 squared would be 9 times 3, which is 27, so subtract it on that side. And you get 169 is equal to MT squared. Therefore, MT is the square root of that, which is 13. And then now to finally figure out ST, that's MT, which is 13, minus MS, which is the distance from there to there, which is 3. So ST, therefore, is equal to 10. So number 19, the answer is D. A large square has side length 4. It is divided into 4 identical trapezoids, and a small square is shown. The small square has a side length of 4. What is the area of the trapezoid? A few ways of doing this question. I think the simplest way is to understand that the full square is going to be 4 by 4. And if you subtract from that the small square, which is 1 by 1, you will get the area of the 4 trapezoids. So to get one trapezoid, you just divide by 4. So let's see what this gives me. 16 minus 1 over 4, which is 15 over 4. And I think that's the simplest way. There's other ways, but hey, why get unnecessarily complicated? So number 11, the answer is D. In the diagram, PQRS represents a rectangular piece of paper. The paper is folded along a line VW so that VWQ is 125 degrees. When the folded paper is flattened, points R and Q have moved to points R prime and Q prime respectively. R
prime V crosses PW at Y, the measure of angle PYV is. So this is a question that involves angle chasing. We have to figure out the angle. So the angle is PYV, this one right here. So I'll call that theta right there. All right, what else do we know here? This is 125. So that means this angle in here must be 180 minus 125. So that's 55. All right, what else can we label here? Using that pattern, we know that this is also going to be 55. And what else here? This angle in here will be 180 minus theta. And then using that pattern right there, this angle will be 180 minus theta. And let's see here. Therefore, if this angle is z, z plus 55 plus 180 minus theta is equal to 180. So when you solve for z, you get z is equal to theta minus 55. So let's put that in there. Theta minus 55. All right, and then opposite angles, this guy is going to be theta. And by opposite angles, this is going to be 180 minus theta. And then this is, of course, a right angle because it's really just the corner of a rectangle, and this is also a right angle. And now I want you to concentrate on this segment right here. This, if you draw a line like that, is really two triangles. So all the angles of that shape have to add up to 360. So this is 90, this is 90. I'll call this guy y. So that means 90 plus y plus theta is equal to 360. So that means y plus theta is 180, and therefore y is equal to 180 minus theta. So instead of that y, I'll put in 180 minus theta. 180 minus theta. Okay, I think we are at the final step. Now the final step is to recognize is that when this is folded, this angle, which is 125, is the same as this angle because it's essentially the same thing. That angle is the same as this angle. And therefore 180 minus theta plus 55 is equal to 125. And therefore this looks like theta is equal to 335 minus 125, 235 minus 125, and therefore theta is 110. So number 20, the answer is 8. In the diagram, PQ is equal to 10 and QR is equal to x. The value of x is. In this diagram, you'll notice that this angle and that angle are the same. So that means that this side and that side must be the same. That's a property of isosceles triangles. So if this side is x, that means this is x also. So I'll write that in there, x like that. Now we have to look at this triangle right here. In that triangle, we are given two angles. That is a right angle, 90 degrees, and that is 60 degrees. So therefore this angle must be 30, since the sum of the angles of a triangle add up to 180. And then in any 60, 30, 90 triangle, the ratio of the sides are as follows. The angle opposite of 30 degrees is 1. The angle opposite, the side opposite 60 degrees is root 3. And the side opposite the 90 is 2. That is the ratio of the sides, not necessarily the length. So now we can use those ratios to figure out x. X over 10 is equivalent to 2 over 1, right? This over this is equivalent to the ratios, which are 2 and 1. So there you go. You solve for x now. Cross multiplying gives you x is equal to 20. And therefore number 12 The answer is B. In the diagram, R is on QS, and QR is equal to 8, and PR is 12. PRQ is 120, RPS is 90. What is the area of QPS? So the full shape. All right. Interesting. Well, let's just do the obvious first. This is 120, so this has got to be 180 minus 120, so that's 60. And this is 90, so therefore this must be 30. So we got a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So the ratio of the sides are 1 here, 2 here, and root 3. So very quickly we can figure out RS. PR over RS, using the ratio of the sides, is going to be 1 over 2. So PR they gave me is 12. RS is therefore something I can calculate. RS is 24. So there we go. Put 24 there. All right. So to figure out the area of that triangle, I'm going to need an altitude. So I'll drop an altitude from top to bottom like that, and of course that's going to be a right angle. So that is what I need to figure out. If I can figure that out, I should be able to solve this question. H is what I'll call that. Now, since that was a right angle, right, and this is 60 degrees, this angle in here is 30. So once again, we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, I don't want to make that diagram more messier, so I'm going to draw that triangle here. So there we go. This is the triangle I just drew. And just label the angles. That's 90, this is 30, and this is 60. And this is R, and this is P. And they tell me that that's 12. So what I want to do is figure out H. And I can do that with the ratio of the sides, which are 1, 2, and root 3, like that. So H over 12 is equivalent to root 3 over 2. Okay? So that means that 2H is equal to 12 root 3, and therefore H is equal to 6 root 3. And then now I've got enough information to figure out the area, which is base times height. The base is QS of that whole big triangle, and the height is H. And QS is 8 plus 24, which is 32. And H we just figured out was 6 root 3. So this looks like 3 times 32, which is 96 root 3. And that would be choice E for number 20. In the diagram, R is on QS. QR is equal to 8. PR is equal to 12. PRQ is 120. And RPS is 90. What is the area of QPS? QPS. Okay, so the big triangle is the area they want us to figure out. All right. Well, where do we want to start here? I guess this is all similar triangles in the sense that they're all 30, 60, 90, right? Because if this is 120, then this is 60. And then this is 90, and that means this is 30. So this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and the ratio of the sides are 1, 2, and root 3. So immediately using the ratio, we can figure out RS. RS over RP is the same as 2 over 1. So solving, we get RS is equal to 2 RP, and RP is 12, so RS is equal to 24. So there we go, put 24 right there. And then at this point, I am going to have to draw a perpendicular from P down to the bottom like that, like this. So that is a right angle. And that will allow me to figure out my height, because I need a height to figure out the area of the triangle. And I'll call that height H. Let's call it H right there. Well, this is again a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This is 60, and this is 90, because that was a perpendicular. So therefore this little guy is 30 degrees. So that means that H over 12 is the equivalent Let's see here. That'll be 1 root 3 in terms of the ratios of the sides, and 2. So h over 12 is the same as root 3 over 2. So that means h is equal to 6 root 3. Correct? All right, great. We're done. So area of that big guy, QPS, is 1/2 base times height. The base is this whole distance, which is 8 plus 24, which is 32. And the height is h, which is 6 root 3. So this looks like 3 times 32, so 96 root 3. And therefore, number 19, the answer is E. Line segments PQ and RS are parallel. Points TUV are placed so that QTV is 30, SUV is 40, and TVU is x. What is the value of x? Simplest way, in my opinion, is just draw a parallel line through V like that. So this line is parallel to the lines here and here. And when you do that, it's probably the easiest way, because you can use the Z rule to easily figure out this angle. It's going to be 30. If this is 30, when you use the Z rule, that's 30. Similarly, when you use the Z rule here, if this is 40, that's going to be 40. So here, this angle is 40. X represents the distance from there, or the angle from there to there. So x is that 30 plus that 40. So x is 70. Therefore, number 20, the answer is D. The line y is equal to negative 3/4 x plus 9 crosses the x-axis at point P and the y-axis at point Q. The point T, RS, is on the line segment PQ. If the area of triangle POQ is 3 times the area of triangle TOP, then the value of R plus S is. All right. So the first thing, of course, is we need to figure out P and Q, because those are obviously going to give us the area of that big triangle. And that's where that equation comes in. And this is really just figuring out the x and y intercepts. So first, find the y-intercept, set x to 0, and that quickly gives you y is equal to 9. So that means this is 9. So that this side is basically 9, QO or OQ, whatever. Now find the x-intercept, set y to 0, and you get the following. Bring the 3/4 over to the other side, and then x is therefore equal to 9 times 4 divided by 3, and that looks like 3 times 4, which is 12. So this distance is 12. All right, so the first thing I want to figure out is the triangle POQ area. 1/2 base times height, the base is 12, the height is 9, and that looks like 6 times 9, which is 54. All right. So they tell me that if I were to find the area of TOP, so I'll just make that triangle there. This is TOP. That is going to be related to the area that I just figured out in the following way, that POQ is 3 times the area of TOP. So that basically means that the triangle TOP, the area is 54 divided by 3, which is 18. All right? So now we have to figure out this area using our dimensions, and I'm just going to draw a height with that red line right there. So here we go. 18, which is the area of TOP, is 1/2 base times height. The base is this guy right here, 12. And the height, well, that is going to be represented in terms of either R or S. Which one? S, right? Because that is the top to bottom or vertical distance. Correct? So I've got S here, and that equals 18. So this looks like 18 is equal to 6S, and therefore S is equal to 3. All right. So we've got half the puzzle. So now we have to figure out r. How do we figure out r? Well, this point is on this line. So to figure out the other coordinate, plug it into that line. Y is equal to -3/4 x plus 9. We want to figure out r. S we already figured out was 3, so S represents the y coordinate. So put 3 here, correct? -3/4. Our x is actually represented by the letter r, so put that in there. And therefore, solving for this, we get 3/4r is equal to 9 minus 3, which is 6. So r would be 6 times 4 divided by 3. And that looks like 2 times 4, which is 8. So finally, what they want is r plus s. So r plus s, 8 plus 3, and that is equal to 11. So number 20, the answer is C. In triangle PQR, RPQ is 90 degrees, and S is on PQ. If SQ is 14 and SP is 18, SR is 30, then the area of triangle QRS is. QRS is this guy right here. So just be careful, you read the question carefully and don't calculate that whole triangle. Okay, well, QRS, that area will be 1/2 base times height. The base, I can use that guy, which is 14. And the height, I can use the top to bottom distance right there, which is RP. But RP, I don't know what it is yet, so I have to calculate it. RP can be easily calculated using Pythagoras. RP squared plus 18 squared is equal to 30 squared. If you look at this triangle right here and use Pythagoras. So that means RP squared, if you do that math, is going to be 24 squared, and then RP will be 24. So that's it. So we'll just go back and plug it in here. We got 14, and then RP is 24. So this looks like 7 times 24, which is 168. So number 15, the answer is B. In the diagram, M is the midpoint of YZ. XMZ is 30 degrees. And XYZ is 15. What is the measure of XZY? So they want this one. Okay, well, this is going to be 150 since 180 minus 30. And then since that's 15 and that's 150, that has to be 15. Since these two angles are the same, these two sides are the same. And if this side is the same as that side, that means that side is the same as this side. And therefore, this is also going to be x, since that will be isosceles. And therefore, in that triangle, 2x plus 30 is 180. And then 2x is 150. And therefore, x is 75. Number 19, the answer is A.